Hey, YouTubers, Tasman here, bringing you another episode of Tasman SkyMod. And in our last episode, we were working on a kind of sanctuary, animal sanctuary, or something of the sort. And I've been putting a lot of work into that. We'll check that out in just a minute. But in this episode, if you look at my inventory, you can see that I have a ton of cobble, quite a few half slabs, 23 sand, 2 fence, and that's all we need for now. And the reason we have that is because we're gonna make the tough mob grinder. So that's Tasman's ultimate farm mob grinder. And the reason I call it an ultimate farm is because okay, I gotta switch out of this. I can't move. Is because of the fact that it's Enderman friendly and it doesn't clog up with spiders. It actually allows you to have spider spawning and Enderman spawning. So the very first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go check on our sanctuary, and it's still not quite done, but as you can see, mobs have already started spawning and stuff. And I kind of added this little pond here so we could also get squid. And it's all lined with sand just because it looks a little better. And then right over here we have a cliff. So I might make kind of one more uphill right around here or something, just to kind of give a little more landscape. But that means I also have to raise up at least my fence on the outside there. But as you can see, no mobs should be able to spawn down there. They're not spawning in here. Hopefully when we get all our chandeliers in, we can take off a bunch of these torches and stuff and try and use more secretive lighting and such. But if we go down here, you can see that this part's all done. You can see here that I used wood just to keep the sand from falling for the pond. But other than that, that's that progress. And we've got aminals, so hey. Hello, piggy. Oh man, look at that tree. Holy cow. That even makes monster trees look big, small. That thing's huge. Then the next thing is I've still been working on trying to get our seeds to go higher. We're still at level 1 on our corn. Where's our corn? Right there. We haven't had any increase. Level 1, level 1. It's been slow and go. I took a bunch of cobble out for this, for our project. Oh, and I wanted to show you this. So remember the last time we talked about how the water seeps out of the barrel into the stuff. So here you can see the water in the barrel is now at 70%. So what we want to do is go ahead and break these guys. And I've done this a couple times. It's a slow process, but it'll be nice because we can get auto repair on our stuff, which, as you can tell from below, we kind of need it. So let's see, what's that give us? That gives us 6, 14. And oh, look at that, we already got one more. And boom, perfect. And we'll want to go ahead and refill this guy that's now at 60. Whoop. So the way you do auto repair, in fact, we could put it, don't these have at least one thing right now? Let's see, mining flint, speed, maybe not. The axe we definitely have, as you can see right there, right by the mouse, it says modifiers remaining 1. So we could actually stick, if we take 9 of these guys, what you can do is come in here and just do them all like so, and we get a ball of moss. And then if we come over here to our tool, and we do that, and we do that, we now have auto repair on our thing. So, cool. And that's good. So let's get us a little more water. So like I said, our main goal today is going to be starting the tough farm, the tough mob grinder, I guess, because that would be tough farm would be Tasman's ultimate farm, and that just sounds silly. But it's kind of a mob grinder. Let's see. So let's go ahead and begin. The first thing you want to do is create a nice platform. I created it about 25 or so away from where I'm usually at. That way mobs will spawn. But we're also going to be up in the sky quite a ways. So we really shouldn't have to worry too much about mob spawn. The first thing we want to do is create these two kind of eye shapes. So we have 5 bricks, then we have 3 bricks, and then we have 5 bricks, then we have one long space, then we have 5 bricks, 3 bricks, 5 bricks, and I just put the workbenches in there. It's optional. So once we get that and we have plenty of room to walk around it, we have our good base of this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put a fence gate right there and a fence gate right there. We'll just leave them open for now. And this will be so that if you do have this chamber right here, this 3x3, is actually where spiders will fall. And sometimes they are spider jockeys. So if there's a creeper on it or a skeleton on it, you don't want them getting out and getting you. So I have the little gates here to keep those guys in. And then we'll have mobs falling on both sides. So let's go ahead and begin. The first thing we want to do is start laying our cobble, and we just do it just like so. I don't want to, like that. So this is the platform where the mobs will be falling, and they will fall in this 3x1 area. So that means back here we just put those guys like that. Perfect. So this is kind of the base of the thing. We'll put one there, and whoop. Oh no, that was bad. Bad. So once we get this part done, this is where they fall. So once we get this part done, I'm gonna start telling you guys a story. So this is just to keep all the mobs in, and we put half slabs right there. So basically their legs will be right here, and we just punch them. Pretty easy. It'll make sense as we go. So there is kind of one of the chambers. In fact, it'll actually look more like this when it's done, and mobs will fall 23 blocks into here, break their legs, and then you just stand out there and you punch them. However, on one of these two, we're going to want our own way in and out. So this one's not the one. And then one other thing I like to do at this point is come right here, look up, and place a torch. That way we don't have mobs spawning on this pad, because as you can see, these are all the upper half slabs or the tops of the blocks where they can spawn. So we got that. Let's go ahead and do this side real quick. Go boop and a boop. And then go, yeah, that's right. Like that. Like that. And boom, boom, boom. And boom, boom. Now this one we're going to leave open right here. Just so that we have a way in and out, because this is actually what we're going to use to climb up. And go boop, boop. So just like that. And then this side, of course, I already have that 3, don't I? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that one's 4. All right. So the next thing we want to do is prepare our area where spiders are going to fall. Now we want to be protected from spiders, so what we do is build up kind of a base here in a little way to make it so that we can stay safe. So if we put 1 block there and 1 block there, and then 1 block there and 1 block there, as you can see, now this block right here, spiders could actually, or mobs could actually spawn on. We do not want that for sure, and mobs can spawn there. So what we want to do is put half slabs on each of these pieces. And now you'll see we're actually, if you look, we're 1 block, half a block, and half block. So we're actually 2 blocks high here, so that when spiders fall, because they're not 1 block, they're 2 by 2, they'll be up here and they can't get you. So you can just come underneath them and smack them and kill them. So this is actually the hardest part to get right. And it looks like we did pretty good. Next thing we're going to do is we're just going to put a block there temporarily like that. And then we're just going to draw our block straight across, just like that. So we kind of have this T looking thing. And then I usually just put a block there so the fence looks... Did I put it like that? Wait, that's the top. Actually, this is... I put a half slab right here, just to make it look like the fence isn't quite floating. This is purely aesthetic, and it just makes it so mobs, once again, can't spawn because that is a lower half slab. So let's go ahead and do that and do that. And then we'll go ahead and like a show. So there we go. That is basically the entire bottom portion, and everything just kind of repeats all the way up. So what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you guys my story of Waterloo, why we work on going up here. So it should be fine. All right, let's see. Come here. And go boop, boop, boop. We're just going to quickly get these guys caught up. There. Perfect. So now it's kind of all even. So this is what it should look like when you start. And we'll have mobs. The mobs will be falling into this area right here, this pad right here, and this pad right here. And then your spiders will work their way over here. Now spiders don't always go to a one-hit kill, just because when they fall down, they might grab the wall part way down, and they won't take any damage. Other ones will fall and they'll completely die. But that's not too big of a deal. Alright, so let's go ahead and begin by eating a whole lot. In fact, I'm going to go grab some more food real quick, because we're probably going to need it. We're going to be doing a lot of jumping. So the reason we have 23 sand is that's our way up. And we need that. Ooh, carrots. And let's check this real quick too. Let's take you out. Boop, and break you. And while we're doing this, grab one more stick. Come on, baby. Show me some increase. 1, 1, 1. Poop. Alright, well, no increase. Alright, so go ahead and put that in there. We'll grab some carrots. We have 2 left, so let's do 4. There we go, 14. Alright, so let's get to the building. So, my story, when I went to Waterloo, it was on like I was scheduled to get on an airplane on the 13th. So really quick, this is what you do. You just pillar up until all the sand's gone. That's why we had 23 exactly. And you just place blocks here, 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 and so on and so forth. So we're going to jump up too. So anyway, my trip to Waterloo, it was really fun. However, it was really kind of got off to a rocky start. And it's kind of a good thing, which I'll explain. So I went, my plane was supposed to leave Sunday at 1 o'clock. So I was to the airport through security and everything. I got there, I think, at 11:30ish. And I made it through the TSA security and all that stuff, no problems. And anyway, the plane lands, and I'm supposed to be going to Chicago. I was going to Chicago first, and then catching a flight to Kitchener in Canada. And so the plane lands, and we aren't boarding. So about 10-15 minutes, the other passengers have all gotten off the plane, and we're still not boarding. So after about 30 minutes, the people at the gate, they get on the intercom, and they're saying there was some maintenance that needs to be done on the plane. It'll be a 2-hour delay. Now, I was okay because my Kitchener flight actually was a 4-hour delay when I got to Chicago, so I figured, 4-hour delay in Chicago, or a 2-hour delay here and then a 2-hour delay in Chicago, no biggie. So anyway, they said, we'll let you know, but they expect it'll take about 2 hours. So start waiting, about 3 hours later, they get on the intercom, and they say that the flight to Chicago is still being delayed, and that it might be 3 or more hours before they're able to get us on. So now I would definitely miss my Kitchener flight, connecting flight in Chicago. And so I went up to people at the gate and I said, do you really think it's going to go tonight? And they go, probably not. And they said, if you want, we can put you up in a hotel here in Salt Lake, and then you can just come tomorrow morning. And there's a flight, there's a similar flight tomorrow morning. So I said, well, actually, I live not too far. I live within 15 minutes freeway driving from the airport. I said, I'll just go home and come in. So I scheduled for the 6 o'clock flight to Chicago the next morning. Now, this was the night that stupid thing. There we go. This was the night that in Utah we had a terrible snowstorm, and we're pretty used to snow in Utah. I mean, we're really popular with the skiing community and stuff like that. We have some really popular ski resorts, and our license plates all say the best snow on earth, so it's got to be right. Can't lie on a license plate. So anyway, I end up coming home, and probably a couple hours after I got home is when it started snowing, and it just snowed all night long, which wasn't a big deal. I just leave at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning to catch my 6 o'clock in the morning flight. So anyway, we go to bed that night. My family was kind of glad to have me home, and we go to bed that night, and about 1 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden we hear on a megaphone, "This is the police. We have your house surrounded. Surrender at the front door with your hands up." And at first I thought it was my son's tablet just being kind of goofy, because I didn't quite understand what was actually being said. It was just kind of mumbling. And so I kind of ignored it, just thinking, it's my son's tablet. He left some game running or something. He left his tablet in our room like he usually does to charge. So anyway, about 10-15 minutes later, we hear it again. It could have even been shorter. It might have even been 5-10 minutes later. It was pretty quick. We hear it again. And so this time I'm kind of awake, so I kind of hear it, but I don't really understand what's being said. So then my wife kind of gets woke up this time. Did you hear that? What was that? I don't know. Is a TV on, a radio or something? My wife has kind of a possessed iPod. I thought it might be that too, that is on an iHome, and just periodically it decides to turn on and start reading you a story or something like that. So I wasn't sure what it was. And this time while we were talking, it went off again. I'm like, what the heck is it? That's not even in the house, is it? So we look out my back window. Oh, we're out of time, but I'm going to finish my story real quick. So we look out our back window, and our side neighbor, we look in his backyard, and he has a car back there, and we see a guy with what looks like a machine gun and a flashlight on it, and it's pointing up at their house. And we're like, what the heck is going on? So we go to my son's, my kids come in my room by now because it's gone off a couple times, and I tell them, you know, you guys can go ahead and sleep on our floor. And so anyway, it's hard to build and talk at the same time. So I go look out my son's window, and sure enough, out in the yard of our neighbor, kind of kitty corner in their driveway, is parked a giant SWAT truck. And there's about 20 guys out there, all with like M4s and stuff. And so I said, well, maybe they finally came to get our neighbors, because the son and stuff got into some bad stuff, heroin dealing. And the cops have told us before, when there was, when we've had some theft in the area, that, you know, they are known drug dealers. So might be that. Oh, am I out? Oh, good, I'm not. So anyway, they said it might be that. And so it wasn't a huge surprise, other than we didn't think SWAT was going to come get them. But so I look out, and there's all those guys out there and stuff, and I tell my kids, well, let's, you know, there's nothing we can do here. And my biggest worry was maybe if a gunfight ensued, that a stray bullet might fly and you know, penetrate one of our house walls and possibly hurt someone. So I told my kids to go ahead and sleep in my room on the floor. And so we all go in there, we're laying down, and next thing you know, there's a knock on our door. And so my kids are freaking out, and I said, okay, you guys just stay here, I'll go look. So I go to the front door, and I open it, and there's two of the SWAT guys with their M4s pointing down, thank goodness. And they are pointing out at my mailbox. They got a car pulled over, and they have two guys with their guns pointed in at the car. And they said, we just pulled over this car coming down the road, and they said they're visiting you. And I said, well, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm not expecting any visitors. I think I'm gonna put this up one more. That should still not allow spawns in there. Let's see, F7. Yeah. So anyway, I say I'm not expecting any visitors at 1 o'clock in the morning, or I think it was like 2:30 by then. And they go, okay, thank you. And my wife found it kind of funny, because she looks at the car that they had pulled over, and there's people in it, and they're kind of waving at us like, oh, please just say you know us. But it was late, and we didn't know them, so we didn't tell the cops otherwise. So anyway, I haven't had much sleep at all, and so I look at my watch, and I'm actually have to wake up in like 45 minutes to go get showered and get to the airport. And it was snowing really, really bad. So anyway, I end up going, getting up, showering, and as I'm leaving, I see that car still out, parked in front of our house, but no occupants are in it. So apparently they took them off to jail as well. And I kind of felt bad, because I mean, it's just snow real bad, downpouring. I guess that's not really what snow does, but it was just coming down really bad. And the windows were left open on the car. And I was like, well, they shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm driving, going really slow to the airport. I was probably driving about 30 miles an hour on our freeway, which is 75, and watching cars that are being dummies just spinning out and stuff like that after passing me, and end up getting to the airport, go through security, and the airplane lands our flight to Chicago, and I was really happy that we got on it, and we were sitting there, and we were sitting there a lot longer than it seemed like you usually sit at the gate. And then finally we started moving, so I was getting nervous that we were sitting there so long. And then we finally started moving, and we get in the line for getting de-iced because this is coming down bad. And the plane we're in isn't a big plane, you know, it only has the 2x2 seats. And so we end up going through getting de-iced, and then the captain comes on the intercom. He says, well, we spent a little longer than I was hoping to get de-iced, and we spent some of our auxiliary fuel more than I'm comfortable with losing, so we're going to return to the gate and refuel. So I was like, oh, great. So we go back to the gate, and he says on the way to the gate, he's like, hopefully we'll do this fast enough that we won't have to re-de-ice. Well, guess what? We had to re-de-ice. And so we took forever to fuel. Then we get in line to re-de-ice, and it's a big line because all the planes have to de-ice, and they weren't necessarily expecting that. I can't jump up there. And you know, we're starting to wonder, oh, what if we have to get fuel after this again because we're taking longer than he expects. So we end up de-icing. The funny thing is, we finally are de-icing. It's a 3-hour flight basically to Chicago, and by the time we're done de-icing, our plane was actually scheduled to be landing in Chicago. So you know, we spent almost 3 hours just on the tarmac. But we ended up de-icing. We ended up taking off and getting to Chicago, and luckily I had a nice layover again in Chicago, so I actually was able to catch my flight to Kitchener. Everything else from there was pretty standard, nothing really exciting. Had a great time meeting my team and crew and stuff like that, and came home. Not too many issues coming home, but it was really interesting. I never would have expected to have a SWAT story in my life, to tell you the truth. Can I jump that? Yes. So that was kind of a surprise. And I think that's about it, you know. It was really a blessing in disguise that the plane broke and I had to come home, because it would have been a really stressful situation for my family if I couldn't have come home. But that's it, guys. That's the beginning of our thing. From that point on, we actually do something different, and we'll do that in our next episode. I really do hope you enjoyed this, and you maybe enjoyed the story a little bit, why we built, even though I kind of rambled a little bit. But I never do that, right? But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Helps me tremendously on YouTube. And other than that, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter if you want to know what's going on in my world and when I put up new videos. And until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.